Namaste, Jai Bharat. Many people would find it difficult to accept. Many people will find it difficult to believe what I am trying to say now. I'm talking about civilizations of the world. And right in the beginning I would like to say that all world civilizations, no matter which point in the globe, has a stamp of impression of Bhartiya knowledge tradition. Simple, of the Veda-Upanishadic knowledge tradition. Now, historians might try to, archaeologists and historians together, might try to fix a chronology for the Veda-Upanishadic knowledge tradition, but which they have ever failed. We don't know. We don't know how ancient it is. But what we know is another thing. At one time in history, later, not in ancient times, not in that ancient times, later, there were about 7 lakhs of universities in Bharat. Nalanda, Takshashila, Vikramashila, etc. were major universities. We used to call them as Gurukuls, major Gurukuls. But there were smaller Gurukuls spread all over. And smaller Gurukuls are smaller in size, not in knowledge, because these smaller Gurukuls were specializations in areas and super specializations in specific areas. So those who look for that after their general studies shall go to such places where focused super specializations were done. Only those used to be there. So naturally the number of students shall be less. There are greater universities which are known, but these smaller Gurukuls were not known, or at least lesser known. But about 7 lakhs is what history says. And 7 lakhs of universities in one place, what should it mean? It means people from all over the world must have been reaching. How they came? There were no aircraft, no airliners, not even ship liners. They used to move through land, taking time. That's why in Manusmriti there's an expression that a girl who's married, if her husband goes abroad, goes out, if he goes to study, if he goes to business, the girl should wait for him for 12 months. And if he doesn't return, she has a right to choose another husband. People focus Manusmriti Asnastri Swatandra Marhadi. That's very shallow and peripheral interpretation and understanding of a great text. It's ordinances, laws of ancient times. Then if you go as for studies, the wife has to wait for 2 years. He should come back within 2 years, otherwise the wife has a right to change the husband, take another husband. And if he goes for pilgrimage or religious studies or religious purpose, then she has to wait for 3 years. And if the man doesn't come back in 3 years, she has the freedom to go for another husband, and the husband shall have no claim. What does it mean? Business 1 year, studies 2 years. It means people used to move out from one society to other society to studies. Bharat itself, Manusmriti talks about Bharat, not necessarily. Manusmriti has reference to the entire globe. There's another reference in Manusmriti which says that those who lost qualities, Manusmriti considers everybody as Aryas with given quality. But then people who lose qualities, Aryan qualities, Aryan is a connotative term, absolutely not denotative as people try to present. When people lose Aryan qualities, they cease to be Aryans and they become Anaryas, not Aryans. Then Manusmriti gives the example of the people, the Cambodians, Cambodjas, Pehlavas, Yavanas, Greeks. There are many in these places who cease to be Aryans since they lost the Aryan qualities. It means Manusmriti is meant just not for Hindus, just not for Bharat. It's also meant for the entire world. It means at that time people knew about distant lands, about distant lands, about knowledge societies, about places where knowledge used to exist. I would like to say only one thing, that all world civilizations were influenced this way or that way from Bharatiya knowledge tradition, from Sanatana Dharma, from the Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition, to be specific. There are, if you watch closely, if you look closely, if you go closely, you will find the mark of this with the Egyptians. You can go into details. Now you may not understand, but in time to come, this thing is bound to be revealed. This thing is bound to be discussed. This thing is bound to be understood by the entire world. Look at the Egyptians. There is unmistakable influence. Look at the Sumerians, the Incas, the Aztecs, the Mayans. Everyone in the entire globe, everyone in the entire world, they are bearing the stamp of Bharatiya knowledge tradition. First ever knowledge tradition in the history of mankind. Like first ever text in the history of mankind, the Rig Veda. One more thing. Look at the entire world civilization. Look at the entire world knowledge tradition. Wherever people have produced evidences for their knowledge tradition, they have produced evidences for knowledge tradition in one given area, one or two or such given area. There is no one in the entire world who had a comprehensive understanding of knowledge per se. That's every aspect of knowledge, or rather every department of knowing. Bharat is an early society. Bharat is an early tradition. The Veda Upanishadic knowledge tradition is the only tradition which had inquired into, and not only inquired into, went considerably deep into studies about every possible department of knowledge, knowledge per se. This I would like to ask. Let someone tell me about an area, or any area, or just one area of knowledge as you understand today, where ancient Bharatis have not gone into and exhausted possible obtaining of knowledge. They obtained knowledge. They turned it into texts subsequently. Then they turned it into sculptures in time. Though the primary mode of knowing was through smritis and shrutis. This had its advantages as well as disadvantages. It had its advantages because when the Islamic invaders invaded Bharat and the Muslims destroyed many of our texts, considerable amount could be recreated. And the history carved on granite stood as witness to many things. But that's we could get. Disadvantage is that not everything from Shruti Smriti tradition was put into words. We know the Vedas were put into words, into written form by Maharishi Vyasa and his students team in a place called as Naimisharanya, which is near Lucknow. That we know. But what we don't know really is that how much of such knowledge which existed through Shruti Smriti traditions are lost. We know that when this Bhartiya Khilji invader put the library of Nalanda on fire, the library burnt for months. That much of literature. Imagine a library burning for months. And the railway station was named Bhartiya Khilji, named under Bhartiya Khilji's name, which of course was changed with Yogi ji becoming the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh. So many things must have been lost, but many things are still preserved through Shruti, Smriti traditions. So it had its advantage and disadvantage. The compartment. We are still at a point where it's possible for us to esteem, understand the extent of knowledge our ancestors had obtained and kept recorded and taught, got transmitted from generations to generation. There were some energy losses in transmissions, which of course got corrected by Mahavira Swami through Jainism and Bhagavan Buddha through Buddhism. These energy losses were corrected by our own people. This knowledge tradition is one knowledge tradition in the entire history of mankind, which had explored every possible thinkable aspect of knowing anything and everything. Just what is left by the people of Bharat in knowledge? Is there anything left? Nothing. This is what my belief. If I am wrong, please correct me. Every aspect has been taken care of. Such a comprehensive knowledge tradition nobody has. So that's another point where one should understand that it's quite possible that they learned from one of these universities some idea and went back to the house and worked further on it and extended it, which is their original contribution. But the root is always Bharat. Look at China. China obtained Buddhism from Bharat. One example. China obtained Buddhism from Bharat, but then they worked upon it, they developed it into Confucianism, Taoism, etc. That's original contribution to China, from China, but based on the knowledge tradition which they got from Bharat. Tibetans, base text Buddha knowledge tradition. They blended the tantric methods and created another kind of system. Now, this is done. This is done by the innovative scholars all over the world. But the fundamentals of the knowledge, postulates, were obtained from Bharat. That's precisely what people think and call Bharat as Vishwaguru. So there's no area. This, of course, tomorrow you will understand. It will be revealed. It will take, I'm sure this, you light a lamp and keep it, and how long you will shut it. Somewhere, ray will come out of it. This world has to understand in time and shall understand in time. Maybe it takes time, but it's not infinitely long. People shall understand that the fundamental knowledge began from Bharat through our ancient scholars. We are not boasting about it. We are not proud of, and we are proud of it, but we are not boisterous about it. We are not very loud about it. Precisely that's what our government also does. They don't speak loudly about the achievements they make, even to the people of our own nation. Maybe through in ancient time they may say something. So there had been a Hindu nature of not to beat around the bush, number one, not to be boisterous. Both to the point, to be specific, to be comprehensive, to be clear in thoughts as well as presentation. So it's a legitimate claim Bharat is Vishwaguru, which the world will understand in time, though the understanding has just begun very, very recently. Should have happened long back. There's a saying in Sanskrit, Vilambena Kari Siddhi, which of course gets translated into Hindi, there I there is thy. So let it take time. Ultimately, things will become clear. Independence Day today, 79th independence, of a nation which is really Vishwaguru, of a nation which had shone light to the entire world, of a nation which has maximum number of religions, which has produced more religions than the entire world put together, and which had influenced all religions in the world. directly or indirectly, which carries where all nations carries a stamp of Bharat. This will be revealed in time. The world will realize in time. This is a simple thought considered as prediction. Shall happen in time. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.